Sir, if you want to speak, please come forward, state your name and address. No shouting from the back, please. Thank you. Sir?
John, I heard you say you don't recognize Robert's rules.
You making a point of order, Jack?
Yeah, if need be, sure.
Okay.
I understand the Robert's
annual
rules.
town meeting in Clinton is run by the Clinton Town Bylaws as first written in 1914. We have not adopted Robert's rules for an open town meeting, and I wouldn't recommend that we do.
You win what?
I would not recommend that we do. I can run this meeting under whatever rules the people here want.
Well, I
but
thought
Robert's rule, Jack, you asked the question, let me explain it. Robert's rules is very restrictive, and I don't think anybody in here wants to see their moderator gaveling people out of order because they haven't strictly conformed with Robert's rules of order. They get up, they shouldn't have to be an expert on procedure to be able to state their piece. And that's why the town, given where they're having an open town meeting, which we have, has left it as it is.
On an open town meeting, it's based upon parliamentary procedure, which
Correct.
is based upon Robert's rules. My way of thinking.
Okay, thank you. Sir. Questions, comments, or discussion under Article 22? Sir. What's that?
True. Correct.
What did you do?
I moved it to the end of the warrant. Sometimes I think I'm speaking Greek.
Apparently, the Board of Selectmen would like to move this to the end of the warrant. They feel this has the potential to be a rather lengthy article, I believe is the reasoning behind it. So the motion in English is to move this article as to the last article on the warrant. Is there any further questions, comments, or discussion under the article? There being none, we'll take a vote at this time. All in favor of eliminating the strong chief statute for Clinton would vote yes. All those, please vote at this time. Thank you. And opposed? Shit. Now, if you can all remember where we were when we started this.
Article 13.
Luckily, I wrote it in my notes.
Mr.
We're
Moderator.
going to Article 13. Fun. Questions, comments, or discussion under the article? Hello, nice to see you. You should be recognized first, ma'am, but go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator. My name is Mary Pitts, 21 Lawrence Street.
There being none, we'll take a vote at this time. All in favor of the amendment to Article 25, please raise your card now. Thank you. And opposed? Let's try this again. As written in your warrant, all those in favor of making the town treasurer an appointed position should vote with their cards now, please. Thank you. And opposed? Yikes. Okay, thanks. You cards down. I'm going to try this once more. Any further questions, comments, discussion before we start? Ma'am. Sir, whatever that, I can't see.
Because that's going to force people to be fiscally responsible. Sorry, I'm very nervous. Fiscally responsible. Thank you.
Wait a minute. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, I would ask that everyone give courtesy to everyone getting speaking. It takes a strong backbone to get up and speak at town meeting, and you may or may not agree with whatever is being said by whomever, but I would ask that you please be courteous to everyone who's up and not interrupt them. To the 99% of you who didn't need that, I apologize for having to listen to it.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to take from free cash the sum of $10,000, said sum to be placed in an interest-bearing account to be dedicated to the partial funding of a sesquicentennial celebration for the town of Clinton in the year 2000. This carries Finance Committee approval.
Mr. Moderator, I second the motion.
Article number 13, dealing with sum of $10,000 to be placed in an interest-bearing account dedicated to the partial funding for a celebration for the town of Clinton for the year 2000. You're not going to catch me on that one. Questions, comments, or discussion under Article 13? There being none, all in favor signify by raising your hand now, please. Thank you. And opposed? Thank you. The celebration will be held. Article 14. We'll vote at this time. All in favor of the increase in the assessor's salary indicate by raising your hand now, please. Thank you. And opposed? Thank you. Once again, folks, all in favor? Thank you. And opposed? Once more. Nice and high. One hand only, though.
John Gorman, Fuller Field. I'd just like to say one thing. There is an article for $10,000 on the town warrant, and I would like to ask
All questions come here, Mr.
the administrative assistant,
All questions come here.
if he would kindly.
John, all questions come here,
Okay,
sir.
may I ask him?
You ask me.
Okay, may I ask him a
No,
question?
you asked me the question.
Oh, okay. He came down to the field with the building inspector, and he looked at the bathrooms. And I believe, and all he has to say is yes or no. I don't want to get him in the middle with anything. And they both said, or the building inspector said, $10,000 wouldn't even touch these bathrooms, wouldn't even touch them as far as repairs. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, I'm James Gibbons, 1100 Ridgefield Circle. Backing up the section previous to the ambulance account,
Okay.
more for a point of information, I'd like to know if we could be advised on debt retirement principle. There's an excess of $1 million payment budgeted for this fiscal year, and I wondered if we could have some details as to what debt retirement to that amount is occurring.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to handle that? Because I know I don't. Whose budget would that be? That's the, retirement? Debt retirement principal. I could sing and dance, but I don't think you want me to do that. So I don't think you're going to get your answer. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you unless, Mr. Coyne, would you like to...
Phyllis, do you want to speak on that? Well, he said debt retirement. Is that what you said, Jimmy? Where's Jimmy Gibbons? Mr. Gibbons. Where is he?
What? All right.
Jimmy, what was that on? Debt retirement? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone who wants to handle that? Mr. Jagonski?
Mr. Jablonski, what?
Oh, I thought you wanted this.
Oh, no.
I
Well,
don't
I
think
mean,
Go ahead.
Mr. Moderator, I mean, I'll just say that, first of all, I don't feel that I'm qualified to make an answer to that question where I don't have a legal degree, and I certainly am not qualified, but if the town moderator would like to look into it, and, you know, I'm sure he would give an adequate answer at some other time, but...
Nope.
Excuse me?
Hey, well, that's why we have hands, ma'am. We have hands, and we have a microphone. There'll be no more calling out, please.
Mr. Moderator, I'm just making an attempt to answer the gentleman's question. I'm not qualified, so all I'm saying to you is I'm not qualified to answer it. I'm not an attorney.
Questions, comments, or discussion? There being none, all in favor, please signify. Green cards. Don't forget your green cards. Thank you. And opposed? Thank you. The article is passed.
Gloria Parkinson, 90 Haskell. Really quick, I think this is all great. But I just wanted to ask Phil, is it a question, can I ask him, can I ask Phil?
Well, ask me and we'll send it out.
Mr.
How's that?
Moderator, would you ask Mr. Duffy, of the chair of the planning department, on the one that's listed as 3842, which says special permitted uses, would you ask Mr. Duffy that as I understood it, and again, he's just stated it, but to make sure this is what we're really talking about, I went to a planning meeting when this was discussed a couple of months ago, and Mr. Duffy pointed out at that time that each time there is this special permitted uses. The reason for this question, to have it confirmed, is my only trepidation, and Mr. Duffy dealt with that, and I want to make sure that he can confirm it tonight through you, Mr. Moderator, is that should a company come and say we want to do animal research as part of our research and development, for example, primate research, that we have a right to object to that on a permit-by-permit basis. The reason for my question is that I think, although this is wonderful and I think we should vote for it and do everything we all agree with, but if we do things like detailed animal research, we will have the PETA people down upon us, smearing buckets of paint all over town, which would not be a great image for the town. So my purpose is to say, is that right, through you, Mr. Moderator, that we can object to? Yeah, okay.
Okay, Mr.
Right.
Duffy.
Right. Do I leave now?
Thank you, you did fine.
Again, Phil
Further
Duffy.
questions, comments, or discussion of the article? I believe Mr. Hart would like to speak, although he hasn't been recognized, but he'd like to speak.
Thank you,
It
Mr.
would help if you
Moderator.
would raise your hand, Chief, once in a while. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, teacher.
Living on 2060 Front Street, Clinton, Mass. I was a coach with the Clinton Minor League for 30 years. And to answer that lady's question on, she doesn't want to spend no more money, I'd like to ask her, or just tell her, how much money the town would save by those kids down there playing baseball instead of down on High Street drinking and drugging. How much would it save the police department by not having to make all those arrests? And another thing is, the town of Clinton has all the kids in the world who love to play baseball and no land for them to play on. Berlin, Lancaster, Sterling, no kids. All the land in the world for them to play on. Please approve this question. We need the land. We need the baseball field. Please approve this.
Sir. You were all given I'm going to check the color here, all given a pink card when you checked in. When you go to vote tonight, you should put that card in your hand. We'll be looking for the card in your hand to count the vote. Sir. Okay. Nib, can we raise that up a little bit? I sense that there's...
You speak right into this mic, you hear very well. If you want to get up to the podium and not say nothing, we'll go ahead and do that. Speak right into the microphone. It works fine. Turn that volume up and you're going to hear squeaking. Speak into the mic.
Thank you, Mr. O'Toole. We will... Okay, the recommendation is when you're speaking, speak close into the microphone, and hopefully that will... Can you hear me now? They still can't even hear me. Ma'am.
Mary Chaffee, 83 Franklin Street, Clinton. I think the article, the way it's written, is just confusing to a lot of people. I think we thought we were coming down here to actually discuss the landfill, but it sounds like we're talking more of a ballot effect, which I think is really throwing off people that did want to talk against the landfill. So I'll talk against the landfill how I feel about it.
Wait a minute.
See, now
Before
that's
get
it,
too
so we
far
can't
into this,
discuss
okay?
it.
I mean, I understand where you're coming
Yeah.
from, okay? The place to discuss your pros and cons on the landfill itself as I understand it, would be a Board of Health meeting. This is a town meeting with a warrant, and the warrant is whether or not we would have at this point, either a binding or a non-binding, actually legally it won't be a binding referendum by ballot on the issue. I know where you're coming from, and I understand your concern, but the article really doesn't open it up that wide to get into a whole pros and cons of the dump. It's are we going to have a referendum by ballot on this issue? And if a large discussion is going to get into this, it really should be done at a Board of Health meeting. They have the granting authority to grant this license.
Well, we've done this, though. We've been to the selectmen meeting to the point that I was at one time probably not even known in the town, and now everybody knows me as being there every week. They thought I was taking Mary O'Brien's place. So this is what the idea was. I thought that we could come down in some way talk it, because the Board of Health is telling us, Mr. Carboni speaks and says, you know, that they have made, not the decision, but this has met all the criteria that's required in order for a landfill to go in. Well, that didn't give us as individuals any chance to answer it. I like to think that we elected them to represent us, but not to override us, is what they are doing at this point. So when will we get a chance?
Well, it won't be tonight, I can tell you
All right,
that.
if we vote yes, if we vote yes on this ballot right now to have it, the next time it would come up, is that be the time when we can?
If you vote yes on the amendment change and the article, okay, what will happen is that a town-wide referendum will be held to where you could vote yes, you were in favor of the dump or landfill, excuse me, I don't want to offend anybody. You are in favor of it or you are against it, okay? This town meeting does not have the authority to do anything, pro or con, on the issue of whether or not we are going to have this establishment or whatever. Okay? So what I'm saying is that the only thing this town meeting is authorized to do is to vote under the article some sort of a referendum question where the townspeople could have their say there as to whether or not they are in favor of the issue or against the issue. But keep in mind, it's non-binding on the granting authority, and the granting authority by state law is the Board of Health. So that's where we're at with this. And and I understand, I know what you're going to get in. I understand where you're coming from. But the place to get into that is really not here tonight, because we have no authority or ability to do anything one way or the other.
Well, they
It's
keep
at a
telling
Board
us
of
that
Health
no
meeting.
matter where we are, that we don't have any rights. All right, then if I ask the people here tonight to please vote yes to at least get it to the next step.
If you so like, yes.
All right, I'd like to please vote yes tonight. Put this on a ballot and let the people of Clinton decide, not let 3 individuals or 4 individuals. There's a bunch of you. Get together, because it's going to affect the whole town. It isn't going to affect just a few.
Is there any further discussion on the proposed article change, the amendment to Article 4? There being none, we will vote on the amendment right now. I will read it to you once again.
I would be remiss if I did not mention to the people assembled and to the people watching on TV that this is your last meeting as town moderator, and that you have served as town moderator for 33 years. There are many components to the lifeblood of a town, but one of them is the willingness of people to volunteer. And John has been at our side at town meeting now for 33 years, and to sort of publicly acknowledge that service, we have a plaque here for him, and it reads, John F. Hogan, in appreciation of your many years of dedicated public service representing the citizens of the town of Clinton as town moderator, 1986 to 2019. John, it's my pleasure to give you that. And just in closing, I would like to say that he wasn't really a volunteer. He's paid $100 a year. So in the 33 years, he has received the princely sum of $3,300.